Shine, wild ones. It's Bernadette. I am here with your Pick a Card Daily Tarot reading for Saturday, November 28th, 2020. You'll notice I have my candles burning in the back, and I am wearing my St. Nick's World Tour t-shirt that actually has to do with today's card. But I just needed to believe today, y'all, because the card is the Six of Swords, which is the Stork in the Animal Tarot and Oracle deck, which is the deck that I read from, based, pardon me, on the Rider-Waite Tarot. And there's a tremendous amount to unpack about this card. And because the animal allies, man, I was like, okay, y'all, you don't have to hit me in my dang third eye. I get it. They only want me to focus. Now, today's chakra, the governing chakra, is your third eye chakra. And the planetary influence is Saturn, which is the taskmaster energy. It's it's not even about let's go, let's get it done like it is on a Tuesday or the oh crap Thursday, right? It's more about staying on course and getting it done. And, you know, mostly when people that are talking about spirit, totem, and power animals, they get to Stork and immediately go to the white stork, bringing the baby to the couple. Aw, and that's true sometimes. But y'all, there are many different kinds of storks, and the black stork was the one that wanted to show up for the Six of Swords. In the Arc Tarot, we'll get to that in just a second. And then there's the shoebill stork, one of my favorite animals, truly one of the fiercest birds. I mean, I think he and she are second only to cassowaries, because cassowaries, oof, they will put a hurting on you. But so will a shoebill stork. At least I call them the Clint Eastwood of birds. Because if you've ever seen that, you know, like that shoebill stare, you're like, I'm backing away. Slowly backing away. And y'all, I had to light my candles. I had to wear a St. Nick's t-shirt, not because ooh, Thanksgiving's over and Yule and Christmas are coming, but because St. Nick, well, in his famous world tour, I was there at that concert every year for the last umpteen years. And it has to do with the whole message for today. So we're gonna jump right in. Actually, first, I'm going to jump into the traditional meanings of the Rider-Waite based Six of Swords card. And if you take a look at the card, what you'll see is a ferryman ferrying people to a different place. And this card represents, if you see there's turbulent water on one side and there's calm water on the other, it's better times ahead, new home and hearth. You're moving away from the turbulence, the choppy waters, and you know that it's going to be smooth sailing from here, which is great because you've earned it. That said, this card is also ruled by Saturn, and because of that, Mercury is playing the serenading gondolier, and he takes you through the currents of Aquarius, and you know there's like this whole Zodiac is so immersed in tarot. I actually have a whole series coming out about that. And the Kabbalists call this card the Lord of Earned Success. However, Saturn is also termed the Great Initiator. But the road to and through an initiation is really not easy. And that's why Black Stork wanted to be the Six of Swords in the Arc deck. And it's, you know, when we talk about all the work that's required to get through a true initiation, to get through to true spirituality, right? Because there are people that talk so much smack about, you know, they wear their crystals and their flowing gowns and it's namaste and blessings to you. And the minute you turn your back, and they're picking up one of those crystals and they're like, wham, down you go, right? Okay. So this is a true spirituality card, like a true a true spiritual awakening card, a true ascension card, but it's all going to be about your perspective. And where better can you get that change in perspective than that you might need than through true listening to the true messages that are coming through in your third eye chakra, right? So the other couple of things about this card, if you take a look at the swords, they're pointed down, and that's a time of rest, right? Like the time for battle is over. And I really want to thank, oh goodness, I can't think of her screen name, But talking about the pentacles, the white buffalo from the other day, she wrote in the comments that actually, because I was like double-sided coin, double-edged sword, she wrote that actually a coin is three-sided. There's the top, the bottom, or the front and the back, and then there's that rim that goes around the edge. She's right. She's totally right. So man, I got to get that straight. In the instance that I was going through everything, it was making a point, but I realized I should have, and I apologize for that. I should have been quicker on the money with the pentacles, and talked about that third side, because that is part of the reading today, is the perspective that you're going to see this card and these storks from. Now, if you, you know, if you look at the passengers in the boat, it kind of looks like they're bowed and they're in mourning, but it's hopefully also the hopeful aspects of your psyche. You need time to reflect, and there's no point in worrying like how long it's going to take for the boat to get to the promised land or where it's going to land. Just, you've got to put some trust in the ferryman, which I think is like the universe, but it's also the inside of you. Because remember, according to Bernadette and other, teachers that believe what I believe, and again, I can't prove it, it's just a belief, and beliefs are not facts. You are the universe, and the universe is you. And when you take a look at the blue and the gray of the water and the sky, that's a lot of activity going on in your subconscious and a higher spiritual understanding. Now, remember, water's involved in this, and so the emotions are going to be very healing. Your ideas are starting to form, and it's just this really great moment when you can stop spinning your wheels. It's like the world keeps turning, no matter how long you have to coast, no matter what decisions you have to make. The world is not going to stop spinning. We love you and everything, but we're all not going to stop spinning just for you. So you don't stop spinning just for you. Remember, when people say, oh, and then this person went into a whole spin. Okay, they did, but at least they're moving. And that might be good for them at that time, or coming to a complete standstill might be good for them at that time. That we don't, that's not our place to judge that kind of thing. But the point is that when this card is pulled in a tarot reading, you know that you're making more progress than you think. And even if it feels like you're not doing anything at all, but you're already doing the work, or why would you feel so tired? And that is, you guys, gosh, if I could get you to just, God, just have more self-compassion and more self-love, because people get stuck in these places and they start beating themselves up for not getting someplace quickly enough, or not moving, to a space in a more graceful fashion or whatever. And they're just so exhausted, and they figure they're exhausted from all the self-flagellation. And I always say to them, well, is it possible that you could be exhausted because one part of your brain might be worried, your heart might be worried, subconscious might be worried about this, but the other part of you may be doing the hard work, and you just may not be acknowledging yourself. So if you're in that position today, and I suspect some of you are, or you would be watching this video, yeah, cut it out. Like, have some more compassion for yourself. You're doing good. And if you're not doing as good as you want to do, okay, make the decision to do better. Look at that. Problem solved. Video over. Thank you for joining me. No, really, but really, y'all, things are just so much more simple than we think. So, and let me give you an example of that. So I have been, which is funny because I'm going to tell you a story, and the story is about telling stories. So I have been really struggling. Listen, I'm a Southerner. I grew up in the entertainment business, and it's just my way to tell stories. What can I tell you? It's my way to tell stories. But y'all, I have really been struggling with, do I just take that out and just get to the meanings of the cards, tell you what spirit is telling me, hello, goodbye, see you tomorrow. And I swear to Swanee, I was sitting there yesterday, day before, I don't remember, and I got, oh yeah, it was no, it was Thanksgiving. It was on Thursday, day before yesterday. So I was sitting there and I was thinking about it, and I got a happy Thanksgiving from one of my longtime clients, and I just love this guy. His name is Ashish. He told me I could use his name, and I just love him. He's just I love everything about this kid. And he's a PhD here at UF, and just the most amazing person. And he pinged in and he was like, "Oh my God, today's video was amazing, and I love your stories." I looked around and went, "You've got to be kidding me," because at that moment I was sitting just like this. Oh, I don't know what to do. Maybe I should call my sister. Maybe I should get a reading from the lady I get readings from. Maybe I should just suck it up. I mean, all this stuff was going around in my head because I don't want to be like one of those people that tell y'all, blah, 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 and you're just like, could you just shut up and get to the message? But in the stories, there's always part of the message, and part of these readings, they're readings, but they're also, I do it by design. I intend for them to be a teaching about the spirit animal, the totem animal, the power animal, and the particular tarot card, because y'all, thousands of you guys out there are either learning to read, are readers, want to go to the next level, this, that. So it's designed to be more than just a regurgitation of the meanings of these things, right? Well, when he sent that message through, I certainly moved away from the choppy water and headed right to that straight water. I'm going to tell stories, and people that don't like the stories, well, I'm so sorry. I am, but I'm going to tell them stories. So, and I just am so grateful to Asish. I can never say his name right. Asish. Known him for years, still can't say his name right. And I'm grateful to him because I love him. And I mean, the timing of this was nuts. And so the timing of this video for you is nuts based on your perspective. And what I mean by that is this. Yes, the Six of Swords is a time to decompress. And the underlying themes are journeying and healing. And when we decompress, it can be very easy to start digging up old traumas. It can be easy to turn around and face the shadows and just start diving down in. The time for that may come, but for the now, it's really called for you to be patient. Now remember, there are four swords on one side of the boat and the two of the other. In the suit of swords, 2 and 4 are about balance and reflection. Achieving it was hard work first, but with practice it became easier. Now it requires hardly any effort. It's just part of who you are. It's part of what you do. It's part of, just your flow. You don't even have to think twice about all this. Now, here's what Black Stork has to do with this. So in the fairy tales, the one part of it is that the stork will find beautiful bouncing babies in the water, because storks are, they're tied to both the earth element, or excuse me, the earth element, the water element, and the air element. So 3 elements they're tied to. And being this black stork in particular, being in the suit of swords, it could either be thought of as also attached to the fire element, but it's definitely attached to the air element. Depends on how you read swords. So the idea is that they will pick up these beautiful bouncing babies and totem, all, put them in their little white their white kerchief, because everything's white, the color of divinity, so to speak. Although I think that may end up changing over time. But anyway, and then they tote those, little sprawling critters over to their new mummies and daddies, but only deserving mummies and daddies. If you read the old fairy tales, it's really grim. If they're not deserving parents, they tote them a baby that is no longer inhabiting its body, like it is DED dead. That's horrible. Okay. However, storks, all kinds of storks, but in particular black storks, are well known for eating their own babies if it means the preservation of the rest of the nest and of themselves. That's harsh. It is. It's one of the parts of nature that just, I can't, Lordy be. But it's metaphorical when we're working with tarot and spirit and totem and power animals. And what that means is whatever baby you may have or be dreaming up, let's take a good look at this. For instance, I'm going to tell you another story. She told me I could. I won't mention her name, but she did tell me I could use her story. Just this radiant, beautiful young lady I happen to know who's a student of mine. A client, and I consider her part of my family. She's just a doll baby. So I've been telling her for years, please move forward with your psychic development, please. And she's wanted to, but her confidence has held her back. So she finally, over the last, I don't know, like a lot of people that have been through this whole COVID 2020 lockdown thing, and they had a lot of time on their hands to really consider things, right? Like the Six of Swords, when you've got that time of rest, consider everything you want, but don't go, don't go down the rabbit hole of negativity. That's it, man. It blossomed in her heart what she knew she wanted to do all these years, and now she's moving forward. So she was supposed to have an interview, I don't know, today, tomorrow, or whatever, Monday, with this school over in England, because they interview people before they give you the privilege of spending your money with them. Okay, okay. It ain't Yale, it ain't Oxford. Okay. So it's also in American dollars, $1,300 a month, and the commitment is for a year. What? To what? What? Anyway, so I was like, well, do you want my opinion? Yes, of course. I was like, uh, uh-uh. Unless Edgar Casey has reincarnated and is sitting there and teaching you, don't do it. Madame Blavatsky, maybe. Maybe for me to spend that kind of money, it'd have to be Madame Blavatsky and Edgar Casey and a few other like for real deal, like old time, no joke psychic mediums that I know about and have read about, and but So I turned her on to somebody else, and she's over the moon. And her spirit was in such turmoil about this. She knew it wasn't right, but it looked good, and that was it, man. Like all this crazy pressure just came off of her, and I mean there was no hesitation. She signed up for that other person's classes within seconds, and rightly so. So because this person is just amazing. So uh and a very fine person, a very ethical, honorable person, and a very fine teacher, and a really good medium. Or I should say tapped in. There's really no good and bad mediums. It's just tapped in. Anyway, what all of this has to do with Stork is a baby can be anything. A dream you have, a job you want, a relationship you want. But she had to get rid of one baby that was going to suck her under for her own preservation. And she had to go find another baby. And crazily, crazily enough, I happen to be wearing black while we were talking about it yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. And then, Black Stork shows up today and I'm wearing black again. Now, what St. Nick has to do with this and what this is all about is we are indoctrinated with stories from the time we're kids. And a lot of those stories have to do with if you're good, you get this reward. If you're bad, you get this reward. So we're teaching, and listen, I was taught the same way, y'all. My mom didn't know jack about spirituality. She was a classic 1950s and 60s and 70s mom. You do what I say, you do this, you talk when you're supposed. I mean, listen, she gave me a lot that I am grateful for every minute of every day of my life. But I grew up with the same thing. If I do good, I'm going to get rewarded. If I do bad, I'm going to get busted. And we teach that about storks. Nobody ever tells children the other side of the story that it's not about that. With Santa, and I'm not saying nobody, I'm sure there are all kinds of conscious parents out there that, explain it very differently, but I am going to paint with a wide brush with this, with absolutely no hard data to work with. But I believe more children than not are taught that kind of thinking rather than, well, what do you feel like doing? And getting their kids to talk about them or their partners to talk with them, business partners, romantic partners, get them to talk honestly about them. Well, what I feel like doing in this instance is this, or what I want to do is this. Okay, why? Okay, let's work together to see if we can come to a great outcome. I can get what I want and you can get what you want. And sometimes people are going to tell you negative things. When your kid or somebody tells you, yes, I want to clobber little Johnny or little Susie right upside the head with that stick. Yes, mom, I do. Or yes, dad, I do. They really do in that moment. But if your comeback is Santa won't bring you presents this year, then that doesn't teach them to have honor. It doesn't teach them how to figure themselves out, figure out who they want to be and move towards that. You know, I often tell you guys, triple Scorpio, temper issues when I was a kid, woo hoo. And I'm pretty removed from them now, but there are days when I just, you know, oh my God, that stinger comes out. And I'm like looking for somebody. I just want to sting anybody just so I can. But the point is that organically what's come to pass is I'm at a place and I've worked with so many kids and so many people that organically get to a place where in their heart they don't want to feel that way. They don't want to have that kind of reaction. And wherever they go on their spiritual belief journey, it starts to integrate into their very being so that the things that used to trigger them honestly don't trigger them the way they used to trigger them, but may trigger them differently. I've been through a couple cases this year where honestly, everybody circling me that knew about the situations, you know, and I keep my circle very tight. We're talking 3 or 4 people. They were like, tell me you're going to bring the thunder. Tell me you're going to leave scorched earth. Nah, for me, it's not worth it because yak, 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 yak. And that's truly organic. And there's no, it's not sour grapes. It's not giving up. It's not taking the easy way out. It's not, I'm taking the high road. It's none of those. I just really don't want to. I don't want to. And so Black Stork teaches us that the story of the stork that we mostly hear is only one side of the 3-sided sword, y'all. Then there's the flip side. And then, you know, we say here in the South, there are 3 sides to every story. Your truth, the other person's truth, and then the truth that only God or the universe knows. We say that a lot here in the South. And I got to say that, and thank you to that gal on YouTube, Lordy B, I wish I remembered your name, honey, or your screen name. I'd shout, but I'm shouting you out. I really appreciate you. It makes such good sense. There's 3 sides to every story. So just like the Santa story we're told, just like this, don't be trying to make these decisions or see through your third eye based on those filters of things that we were indoctrinated with that have to do with being a good person or a bad person. Now, you know, I know that there are tons of readers out there on the internet, you know, probably millions around the world. They don't go to these kinds of places. They keep everything light and yeah. And that's cool because the end result of going through a spiritual crisis, a spiritual awakening, a time of epiphany, a time of self-actualization is just like it reads in the 6 of Swords, y'all. There's turbulent water here, but you're moving forward to the smoother waters. Okay. Bernadette loves to be forearmed, but it's not about Bernadette. It's about what the animal allies tell me to tell y'all. And that is always about keeping it real because there's always, always a light at the end of the tunnel. Always, every time a light at the end of the tunnel if you will open your eyes, but in particular your third eye, and let that light shine in. You just got to let it shine in. And that's where people get tripped up. That's where they get tripped up. Believe me, I used to bang my third eye head, against a wall. And one day I hit to the fact it's so much easier than I believed at the time. At the time I believed I've been given this special duty in life and I've got to heed the call and I'm not special. You're not special. Nobody bumped you on the head with a silver wand with a big sparkly star at the end of it and fireworks went off. I dub you special psychic medium, special animal communicator, special shaman. It's how we're hardwired. It's physical, yes, and it's spiritual, yes, and it's emotional. It's all kind of things all rolled up into one. But we're all that to varying degrees, some by nature, some by nurture. And I find that when people can get past the fact of trying to feel like they are special, or desperately want to be thought of as special, or who are so terrified they won't live up to the expectations, because remember, good little girls and boys get rewarded, and bad little girls and boys get coal in their stocking. And good mummies and daddies get rewarded with a healthy, bouncy baby from a white stork, and bad mummies and daddies get penalized and punished with a baby that is not alive. And there you have it. No, I ain't trying to buy that. I ain't trying to live that, and I ain't trying to teach that. So, um, I thank you to Asish. I thank you to the young lady that gave me the opportunity to help her see a different perspective before she got jacked. Not saying this place's lessons aren't very good, and not saying these people's teachers aren't excellent, but $1,300 a month, really? With a year's commitment, really, to get their certification? I'm gonna talk about certifications in another video. I really do believe in them because of the confidence that they give people. But overall, I mean, I'm fixing to do a certification course for the spirit totem power animals for the ARC. I surely am, because the depths that we can dive into when people are trying to get certified tends to be a little bit deeper, because those are people that have their sights bent on doing something professional and they're willing to go the extra distance. But overall, let me just say as a disclaimer, clients don't know. They don't care if you're certified from, you know, somebody's house cat, or you're certified by, one of the big muckety muck, names in psychic world, the celebrity psychics, or they don't know the names. They're just there for you to give them information and talk to their dead relatives and friends and family and, their pets, that kind of thing. But I do believe in certifications for the opposite, for what it does for the practitioner. So all of that said, this is a lot to think about on a Saturday. It is, but please think about it through your third eye, and think about any false story that you've been telling yourself just because you were brought up that way or you were taught that way about good people get this and bad people get that. No. And think about, maybe this card is coming when you're, you're like in the guise, you're like in Guys and Dolls, and you're like, sit down, you're rocking the boat. The devil will drag you under. Don't get me started. I'll be just singing show tunes, and Guys and Dolls is one of my favorite shows. So if that's a good thing, look it up on YouTube. The song from the musical Guys and Dolls, sit down, you're rocking the boat. Man, I wish I'd have thought of that before I started this video. It's a great song for this card. And if you are, doing like this and your own turbulence is making you nauseous, take some emotional Dramamine. Dang, sit down, you're rocking the boat. And you don't have to rock the boat, because you've got to trust the ferryman. Remember, your boat is headed towards better times. They're just waiting for you to pop open that third eye and see the light. I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Buy a copy of my Arc Animal, Oracle, and Tarot deck. Subscribe to my YouTube video. And I apologize in advance if you've gotten this far. I just got to tell you, I got to start saying that stuff at the beginning of my videos. My mentor told me so. Ooh, I hate doing it, but I got to do it. So the most important thing you can do for yourself, though, is to what? To stay wild.